So today's episode is brought to you by the letter R.
Just like on our favorite childhood TV shows. Yeah.
There's a lot of R's that we're going to be talking about. The main one is responsibility.
Hmm. Yeah, this is kind of a follow-up from our last episode where we're talking about the effects of the Grey Rock method, and we discussed a bit about trauma bonding.
Yep.
We want to dive a little deeper into trauma bonding today. Well, a little bit deeper into like overcoming the trauma bond.
Yeah. Yeah. Which relates back to taking responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been, focused on this series of like how to get yourself out of this situation where you found yourself with a narcissist. And, we can actually recap a few things. So here's how to look at it. One, you didn't know you were a narcissist because they're really charming.
Around to think this is the ideal to go after. This is the kind of person you want.
Yes. They're generally very successful, especially if they're a grandiose type of narcissist. That's the more popular leader, rich guy. And yeah, so you probably found yourself, kind of entangled in the charms of a wonderful narcissist. And yeah, it's very difficult to identify, you know, how to deal with relationships. See, if you were raised in a nice, functional home, your good parents would have told you this is what to look for. This is what to watch out for. This is how to manage yourself.
Yeah. But
But most of us are not.
unfortunately, most of us are not brought up in a functional family.
Yeah,
We're not taught this stuff.
no, we don't reject people like that. We're attracted to people like that. And rightfully so. I get it. Like I said, a really like on their performance day, a narcissist is really a very attractive person. People who are not narcissistic are often seen as kind of boring and plain. You know, I'm almost tempted to say vanilla, but but it's like yeah, like an unflavored milk. It's like just kind of plain.
It's supposed to chocolate milk.
Yeah, or vanilla milk. I used to like vanilla milk when I was a kid. Just saying. Like everybody else seemed to like chocolate. I always liked vanilla milk. Just one of those things. I never liked the chocolate cake. I never liked the chocolate milk. I always wanted the vanilla cake. And then my dad introduced me to white chocolate. I was like, what? There's a thing? I thought that was delicious. But, I digress. So back to trauma bonding. Yeah, like it's that thing you find yourself involved in that you didn't know was going to happen to you. But the reason that you're there is because there's also some things about you that make that thing possible. Still struggling sometimes even to like describe the emotions and the feelings I have about it because we interpret it as being person being mean to us, but the truth is it's a mental health issue that they have,
Absolutely.
and they feel like if the thing they're doing, is the best thing they can do to protect themselves,
Hmm.
because the narcissist is driven by shame and insecurity, and they don't want you to see their insecurities. So that's their coping mechanism, and that's how they relate to you. But the damage, the trauma that you receive is very real to you as well. And therefore, it has a real negative effect on your mental health. And the narcissist creates that trauma bond situation with you by doing, a number of things to you. They gaslight you, they tell you your reality isn't real. They don't allow you to test your truth by isolating you from other people. And therefore, you find yourself dependent on the narcissist for their perspective and their idea of reality. And they get to tell you what's real, who your friends can be, you know, what things you can do at what time. It's a significant level of control, and if you follow along, they'll reward you. If you reject or resist, they punish you.
Yeah.
So over a period of time, all this love bombing
Hmm.
followed up by, that abusive discarding and humiliation. and then another dose of love bombing and reaffirmation of the relationship, you become trauma bonded.
And when you were talking about how it's a mental health issue and it's all related to their past
Yeah.
traumas that they haven't dealt with. And it's funny because something just popped into my head as you were saying that, how they project their issues onto you, like they're
Yes.
your issues. When I was going to therapy and my last ex was, you know, getting all frustrated because I was, like backing away
Mhm.
because I realized I was being abused.
Yeah.
And he he told me, I feel like I'm paying for your past. And I'm like,
Mhm.
huh. Looking back now, that's really interesting because that's exactly what was happening to me. I was paying for your past issues that you haven't
Yes.
fixed yet. But he tried to project it onto me.
He's reversing it now,
Yeah,
projecting it onto
like
you. It was
he was suffering from my past.
Mhm.
And that's another thing I have said before. That's something that I really struggled with is determining whether, like, I have these feelings because you know things, your body, your mind knows things even when you're not ready to consciously accept it.
Yes.
So I knew that I was in another abusive situation, but I went back and forth between, is this from my past, is it just my past traumas coming up, or is this actually happening in the moment? And at this time when he said that, I had already known a lot more about it, so it didn't affect me. But if I was back into that back and forth situation where I couldn't decide which one it was, that would have confirmed that it was not the current situation, then it was the past.
Yeah, because he was creating confusion
Mhm.
and he was the one in charge of your reality. You were not. So, yeah, if you had stuck in there and kept believing in him and kept, giving that element of trust,
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? Because you've now, like, basically what trauma bonding does is that it removes your ability to trust yourself.
Mhm.
And therefore, you're putting all of your trust into your narcissist. I heard, my good, she doesn't know this, but she's my mentor, Dr. Ramini.
Yeah.
She said something that blew my mind, but then I calculated it, looked at it, did some research, and it
Yes.
is like so brilliant what she said. You see, gaslighting only works
Mm.
if you have trust in a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah. And that's the critical thing that the narcissist does to you. You lose trust in yourself. Your relationship with yourself is eroded, and the relationship with the narcissist is strengthened.
Mhm.
All of the trust that you need to have in yourself is now placed in that other person. And that's how they're able to gaslight you. That's how they're able to tell you what you're feeling is not real.
Mhm.
You're not being abused. Can't you see I love you? I was only joking.
Yes.
You felt hurt about that. Come on, what's wrong with you?
Time I would bring it up, he would deny, deny, deny.
Yes. And that's the brilliant thing now about listening to this podcast and doing your research, like recognizing that's the first R, recognizing, that you need to take responsibility. That's another R.
For your relationship.
Yes, yes. You see,
Mhm.
you got involved in this thing, it was your choice.
Yep.
But now you're stuck in this cycle. You're trauma bonded. And what's this cycle of trauma bonding look like? You are literally forcing yourself to only recall the good things that happen.
I did that all the time.
It doesn't matter how much they abused you,
Hmm.
you kind of put that aside.
Yeah. Oh, but they did this nice thing,
Yes,
or they bought me flowers after that big fight. And
precisely.
yeah.
How about the times when you just go to a really nice dinner,
Oh man.
right? And they make such a big deal about it. Or it's your birthday. You
Mhm.
get what I'm saying, right? And then they finally like, okay, let you have a thing. and they pay for it. But then afterwards, when everybody's gone, then they're saying, "Oh, what'd you get? Oh, you got a lot of presents. You got more presents than I did for my birthday. Let me see that. Oh, do you want this? This is a really nice headset. Would you like? I'll take that from you." And then the abuse starts all over again.
Yeah. Or when they take you out to dinner,
Hmm.
so it's your birthday. I was taken out for my birthday to the keg,
Hmm.
and I got the salmon because I absolutely love salmon. It was pistachio crusted salmon, and it was so good. So he took me out for this nice dinner for my birthday, and I'm sitting there, I'm enjoying the shit out of this salmon because it was so good. It's about I couldn't hold it in because it was so good. I kept saying how good it was, and the look on my face was probably like,
Hey, you having an organic look?
and he looks at me, he's like, well, you don't look like that with my cooking.
No.
And that comment, like, I was like, so I was way up here. I was experiencing this like food high.
Hmm.
And then that one little comment, that nasty,
Yeah, it's a dig at you. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, you're not supposed to have this much fun.
And then as soon as he said that, my energy went way down.
Hmm.
So they do something for you and you enjoy it too much, according to them, and then they take it away from you.
Yeah, because it's not about them. They cannot stand the idea of you enjoying yourself without their permission.
Hmm.
You see, one of the most important things that you need to understand as a person who may be, experiencing some of these things that we're describing, and you're wondering why, because that's one of the other R's. You ruminate. You try to make sense out of an irrational thing.
Makes sense out of something that doesn't make any sense.
Right, because it's totally illogical, the relationship you're in.
I did that so much, so much.
Yes, you literally spend all your time trying to figure out what did I do wrong?
Mhm.
What's wrong with me? Like I tried so hard, and it's like that constant thought in your head, and you're always thinking about that.
Mhm.
Every minute of the day, you're trying to figure out how can I make this relationship better?
Yeah.
How can I save this relationship?
And
What can I do to make this person happy?
little by little, when they say something, you're not doing something right or
Mhm.
something's wrong with you, you make these little micro tweaks to
Yes.
yourself, a brick every time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because you're making these adjustments,
yeah.
right? But here's the thing. This is the thing I want everyone to understand because this is really, really critical that you get this. A narcissist cannot stand a person who's authentic. That's the reason why they do things like that to you. When you are being your authentic self, like enjoying that dinner, it makes them uncomfortable.
Another point I wanted to bring up.
Jump right in.
I know I've mentioned this road trip. That's when I first used the Grey Rock method.
Hmm.
So I have these two friends that I've known for going on 30 years. We
Okay.
went to or not elementary, middle school together.
Hmm.
Crystal and Jen, and it was Jen's wedding, so that's why we went on this road trip. And I hadn't seen Crystal in 20 years or so. And we talked on the phone or whatever, but I hadn't seen her in a really, really long time. So we went to a barbecue the day before the wedding, and it was me, Crystal, and Jen just standing around having an absolute blast.
You're reconnecting, eh?
Yeah, Crystal and I were talking about, the funny stuff we used to do in high school, make up these stories or whatever. We were laughing hysterically, having the best time, being completely ourselves. And he's standing there, and we both noticed this look on his face. Like Crystal even told me after the fact that she saw that he was starting to get more and more annoyed. Yeah, and then he couldn't take it anymore and he turned around and he walked away. He did not like that. And you would think like in a functional relationship, if you're standing there and you're seeing your partner having a blast with an old friend they hadn't seen in forever, there would be a huge smile on their face.
You're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
You're not cheating. You're not committing a crime. You're just having a great laugh,
Mhm.
reconnecting close friends.
Yep.
They see it as a threat. They see it as a possibility that this opportunity for you to be authentic
Hmm.
could possibly reveal the person that they really are
Yep. Yeah, actually,
and
wow,
punish you.
it does. Oh, that's a good one.
Yes,
You being your authentic self reveals their true character.
it does. That's why they don't want you to be your authentic self.
Yes. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Huh.
Yes.
Well,
So,
like the actual thing isn't awesome, but that
no,
the
the
saying,
revelation of it,
yeah.
right? Yeah, that's the thing. So when you become aware, like we are right now, right? Like somebody had to bring us into this recognition
Hmm.
that you were being abused. Because when you're caught in a trauma bond, like I said, you spend a lot of time ruminating,
Hmm.
constantly rehashing, going over every single thing that you just did in that relationship. Like just like little conversations you had the morning before you left for work or whatever. And you spend the whole day just going over in your head, why was he so upset? What did I do? You know, like all these things keep happening to you all the time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you find yourself as like, you know what? I'm gonna make this better. I'm gonna do this good thing. Because I remember, and you start remembering all these positive things.
Hmm.
But that's the trait of a person who's easy to settle to be trauma bonded to a narcissist.
Hmm.
Because all your life, somebody's been telling you, oh, come on, stop crying. Don't have those feelings. Focus on the good stuff.
Hmm.
So see, you learn to be overly hopeful in a way, but without being truthful.
Hmm.
You see, there's nothing wrong with being able to examine the truth. But the challenge that we have, I know for sure this happened to me. I'm Mr. Positive.
Yeah.
I am Mr. Always look for the best in everyone.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know this.
Yep.
Like, I'm always trying to be like, yeah, come on, let's do this.
Yeah. And
Kind
then
of thing, you know?
like that works against you
It
with some
does.
people because
Because some people are truly mean.
yeah.
Some people, this is their truth. And when you refuse to accept the truth about what you're experiencing,
Hmm.
and you keep this selective recall, all you end up with is regrets.
Hmm.
So you're in a relationship and you're in a constant state of regret.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that leads to depression.
Like an example of that would be you had an argument,
Hmm.
and after the fact, when it's all over, you're like, ah, I should have said this, or I shouldn't have said that, or
Yep.
you think of, and it's after the fact, it's already done, and
Hmm.
you're still sitting there thinking about all the things you should have said. Most most of the time, after the fact, I thought about what I should have said, um, like to stand up for myself,
Yep.
because I had a really, really hard time standing up to him. Because over the years, he taught me that I had positive reinforcement
Hmm.
that that was a bad thing, if
Yes.
that makes any sense.
Of course it does. It makes lots of sense. He was literally framing you to say to you in these little signals he was sending,
Hmm.
if you stand up to me, this is not going to work out good for you.
Yeah.
But if you keep, like being coerced or manipulated or, yeah, you submit.
Hmm.
When I get angry, when I start shouting, when you see me start to behave like this, you need to cover, you need to
Yeah.
lower yourself.
You have to back down, apologize, swear
Right.
you'll never do it again.
Right. And then he softens. Then he rewards you for allowing him
Mm.
to bully you.
Yep.
But if you ever like stand up to him, so and this is a thing that's been done over many years. This is actually something that's indoctrinated, especially into women. Men can have all of these, explosive, expressions, and women are supposed to be quiet and, meek and, oh, let's let the man blow that steam off. And then when he's calmed down, then I'll talk to him and I'll touch him gently and I'll manipulate him to So it's like this indoctrination of gender roles
Mhm.
that forces you to have to play out these little things. Now, in a functional relationship, are there really like arguments? Yes. But are there quarrels? No. You see, you can have a functional, healthy argument, which
Mhm.
is we have a difference of opinion and we're going to express to each other our
Mhm.
difference of opinion and perspective. And the other person, while you're expressing, listens to understand.
Mhm.
And then you have conversations about it.
No yelling and screaming and
Yeah. In a quarrel, no one is listening.
Mhm.
Everybody's trying to force the other person to just accept their position, and
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
There's no listening. Nobody cares what the other person is saying. They're
Mhm.
just shouting louder and louder
Yep.
to win. And
Mhm.
that's what happens in these narcissistic relationships. In
Yep.
fact, these people will literally start a quarrel with you and then beat you down just so that they got that supply. They love to know that you are angry or that you are engaging with them in some emotional, outburst kind of state.
Yep.
And then they make up afterwards. It's all part of the cycle. I'm not already other thing. I'm not speaking to you. Have you ever had the silent treatment?
I think that's one of their hallmarks.
Yes. Right? And everybody has to know how angry they are or we're not getting along right now.
Mhm.
How many people in the world have been indoctrinated to believe that this is normal in a relationship?
Mhm.
So married couples do that all the time, you hear.
Yeah.
Oh, you and Bob aren't getting along today? Oh, that's okay. He'll come around. Eventually he'll want some sex. Oh, did you cook him a good meal? You know? And he'll bring you home some flowers because now he's so sorry.
Mhm.
It's a dysfunctional, awful place to be.
What was one of those other R's? So we're everything relates back to responsibility.
Yes.
What was one of the other? What was the last R?
So, well, in the trauma bond, you're ruminating, you're living in regret, and you have this selective recall. Those are the things that keep you stuck. But when you take responsibility for yourself and you stop being 50% of the relationship,
Yeah.
and you start to be 100% an individual who's choosing to relate. Once you can recognize what type of relationship you're in, the next thing you need to do is determine that you're going to be resilient. Now, to be resilient means that, you know what, I've taken enough. This ends now. And when you go gray rock, that's how you achieve it. Because now you're saying enough is enough. Now I understand how to deal with this narcissist.
Yep.
I'm going to have to disconnect. I will not waste my time even presenting proof or arguments anymore
Yeah.
because you're wasting your time. You're trying to rationalize. You cannot relate in this way.
Mhm.
That person is totally illogical, intentionally.
It was when I decided that I was better than how I was being treated. That was the beginning of the end for me.
Yes.
I decided I was better than how I was being treated.
See, here's the thing that happens, right? So you're in a relationship, and what you've been programmed to do is to treat your relationship like a whole. Like they try to, like somebody does an exam and they get one score, and that score determines if they pass or fail.
Mhm.
So you're giving your relationship a pass, but there are many elements to a relationship. So maybe you're a narcissist, and they usually are, pretty successful when it comes to money. They work hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They always compare themselves to people and they do well in competition.
Yeah.
So that's why they have money or success or more than you do because they always take your money away from you too as well. So even if you were doing well, you can't have your own money, just so you know. But here's the thing. So this person may be a good provider in the sense that you get to live in a home with them, you should be sharing bank accounts or something. But the reality of it is you're doing well because you're in a space sharing with this person.
Mhm.
However, they're still abusing you.
Yeah.
So they're
And,
failing
and now,
miserably, yeah, on the treatment part, but they're doing well maybe on the financial part. So you give them a whole pass when only a small segment.
yeah, so it's so weird how, yeah, we just want to see the good in people. But that's dangerous. You got to watch yourself.
You got to stop giving them passes for the whole relationship
Mhm.
when they're only doing well in one
One,
small aspect.
one subject. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's like going to university and you're really good at math and you fail every other course.
Yeah.
It's like, you're sucking, dude.
Yeah. You're not going to pass.
But when you recognize, because now you're taking responsibility, so now you need to be resilient. You need to overcome that position that you found yourself in and recognize, like, listen, I can't go back and fix anything. I'm no longer going to live in regret. I'm no longer going to keep ruminating and keep replaying all these conversations in my head, thinking I can improve this person
Mm.
and make our relationship better. No, you're wasting your time. You need to just keep moving towards taking care of you.
Yeah.
Next thing you're going to do is have some functional reflection. Now, that reflection beats rumination. You see, when you're ruminating, all you're saying is it's like catastrophizing the situation.
Mhm.
If I do this, if I leave him, where am I going to work now? How am I going to get that money? And I'm really sorry. No, when you're taking responsibility for yourself, you begin to realize I'm in this because I don't take care of me.
Yeah.
When you reflect on the situation now, you begin to see he was actually taking my money away from me, or she was taking my money away from me. I actually have enough to take care of me if I leave this space.
Once you're in it, you don't see it as them taking your money away
No,
from
you see
you.
yourself as sharing.
You're helping, or like that's how I saw it when I was living with him. I would pay the bills that I had, and he would get all the rest. And I thought I was helping the household, or helping with the household bills,
If you ever want to do something for yourself, you had to get permission from him.
and if I did it,
Mhm.
even if I got permission, I would be made to feel guilty, like I was being selfish.
Or constantly reminded of what he did for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, so when you take responsibility and you take your power back, yeah, I don't want to ruminate anymore. I don't want to be constantly replaying conversations over and over again. No, I want to reflect. And reflection helps you to recognize where did you lose your power? And this is where I need to take it back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. And the final R that we're going to give you today is relationship. You need to end dysfunctional relationships and you need to add functional relationships.
Yes.
You need to get into a relationship with a functional person, like a life coach, therapist, psychologist, whatever you need to guide you through the Grey Rock method and the exit
Yeah.
from this abusive relationship.
Yeah. Definitely. Like having support on the exit is huge.
Exactly. Now, here's what happens in between. You'll try to do some counseling. You're going to try to fix the relationship.
Yeah.
That person, when you engage their services, you went to them as a relationship or a marriage counselor. And the idea was they were going to mend the relationship. But the truth is, once you have seen all the traits that we've been describing in the other podcasts, and you recognize that you are dealing with a narcissist, the truth is, the honest truth is this: you cannot be in a committed relationship with a narcissist because narcissists don't do committed relationships. In a relationship with a narcissist, you're owned. You're not equal. You're not 100% yourself. You have to be basically whatever they want you to be. Complete service to the narcissist is all you ever be.
Mhm.
And the person that you think you love, they don't exist.
Yeah.
What you get is their representative. You get the showmanship on the outside. And then you experience that inside person when they're abusing you. That's who they truly are also. You see, they're both people.
Yeah.
They're both that nice, charming, awesome, rich, successful, beautiful, whatever you found attractive in the first place, they are that. But they're also, manipulative, vindictive, angry, you know, full of shame, insecure, right? Like low emotional intelligence. They're also all of those things. And there's so many areas of weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, and looking back, it's like I realized that the emotional intelligence of about a 5-year-old. The temper tantrums, like just all the stupid shit. You're like looking back, it's like that's what toddlers do.
Yeah, now you can reflect from a different perspective
Hmm.
as opposed to ruminating,
Yep.
right? Now you can see the childishness, you can see the choices that they were making at the time, and you can say to yourself, my, how did I get involved in this?
Yeah. You're like,
But I'm resilient. If not, you're going to get stuck in regret, which I did for like a lot of years. I was like, man, I wish I could have done this better. Oh, I'm so sorry. But then you go through the painful, this person never existed.
yep. Oh, I remember when I went through that grieving process with the last one. That was, I mean, you witnessed that.
Absolutely.
It was really tough.
Well, like I said, this episode has been brought to you by the letter R. And it's time for us to retreat back to our regular daily lives. We really look forward to having more of this with you in the coming episodes.
All right. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Talk to you guys next week.
Listening to